Today I am back with you all for explaining one of your civics lesson, working of institutions. Now, you can ask me, what is the use of institution? Institution is required so that people residing in a state or a country should be under some decorum, should be under some control. There must be some authority on the top who will pardon them to do the wrong and who will allow them to do the right, and finally who will inspire them to do something new, to bring a renovation in the society. Now, if an institution doesn't works properly, what happens? And if an institution works properly, what happens? What are the changes or the molded over situations of any institution? Now, mainly one thing we have to keep in mind that we are the people who are making an institution, right? Now, people like us, they are governing in the institution. People like us are being governed by the institution. And finally, people like us are getting motivated by the institution. Okay. So now let's see about the workings and the dealings of these institutions. First important institution is government. Now, how are the major decisions or policies of decisions take place in a country or in an institution? Who is the head? First and foremost thing which we need to understand. Government is the head. Okay. Now, government, as we have already seen in our previous sessions or in previous classes or in junior classes also, that it is not possible for one single institution to control such a big country having 29 states. So, government has decided to divide the whole country among different rulers. Now, these different rulers should have someone who will sit and govern them. Those are the governments, or those are the institutional heads. Now, before that, how are these rules, regulations, decorums, they are being prepared or followed by the government of different states or different places, right? Now, main is the central government. Central government gives or passes out some orders or memorandums or decorums which the junior level governments have to follow without any choice. But is it so easy that I'll write in a piece of paper, these are the rules, these are the regulations, blah blah blah, and that are being promoted to the junior government? Is it so? No, not at all. There are some procedures through which these memorandums, these rules, these curriculum, this circular you can say, pass through. As we have in our schools and colleges, principal takes a decision, he sits with the board members, they either they'll agree in whole or they'll deny, or sometimes it happens that partially they are agreeing, partially they are denying. Now, all together when they're sitting, they come to a specific decision, right? Now, these decisions, when they're coming in one point, then they make some changeovers in the curriculum or the decorum, which or the memorandum rather circular, which principal has already been decided to pass along, and then they forward that to the teachers or professors, and then they circulate the whole message to the full building. Same thing happens over here. Office memorandum. It is an order issued by government to exchange information relating to day-and-day functions within its institutions. Now first comes the office memorandum. That means every day what are the works or what are the schedules of works which the governmental heads or the government officers have to pass through. They have to follow these rules, these works, every day, day to day work they have to do, just like our classes. As we take today English literature, then SST, then comes math, then science. Now, every day these classes have to be taken by the teachers and students have to join the class. It's what should I say? These are the declarations, or they are bound to do it. Monotonous. Okay. Then comes how do the decision is being made regarding any issue. Decision makers are three: President, Prime Minister, and Parliament. President, Prime Minister, Parliament. Okay. Second Backward Class Commission set up in 1979, headed by B.P. Mondal, review the condition of the backward pressed classes and suggest steps for the advancement. Now, how this office memorandum took place? Office memorandum took place because first some institutional heads or some intellectuals, they were being forced to make a board, you can say, or make a small institution, you can say, institution within the institution. That is board. It's better to use board. Okay. Now, these board members, they go through the memorandum which has been issued by either president or prime minister or parliament, anyone. They will go through. This thing will pass over Rajya Sabha, then first it will pass through Lok Sabha, then it will go to Rajya Sabha, again to Lok Sabha, and then it will go to the sanction department. There are some hot debates take place on these issues. Some says yeah, this is supportive, some says no, some says the weak points, some says the plus points, some says that there are so many drawbacks, so this cannot be followed. Some say every good thing has some plus point as well as minus point, and it is our duty to accept it in both the situations, whether it is having plus point or minus point. Okay, so there is no alternative except accepting it. Okay, and finally the decision has been made that okay, this memorandum or this procedure can be followed, or this changeovers can be made. Next comes how does a parliament works. This was the way how an institution passes out a rule or regulation, or how they are making out some changeovers. Now comes how does a parliament works. We all know that our country is a democratic country and parliament is the head of the institution, you can say. Now, parliament has two houses. You all know, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. What is Lok Sabha? House of People. And what is Rajya Sabha? Council of Ministers. Right? Now, whose voice is higher? Lok Sabha. Because it is having all the representatives, they are sitting there, they themselves are taking the decisions. Then comes Rajya Sabha. Who controls Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? Speaker. Okay. Now, Lok Sabha is the lower house, Rajya Sabha is the upper house. Lok Sabha representative electeds are directly elected for 5 years, And here, this is indirectly elected from state and assemblies for 2 years, representative of Rajya Sabha. Then Lok Sabha people extracted taxes called tithes. But here, they doesn't have to give any tax as because the time limit is less. In Lok Sabha, members are 545. In Rajya Sabha, the members are 245. Rajya Sabha's tenure or time is 5 years. Lok Sabha's time is also 5 years, but this is permanent. And Lok Sabha can anytime be stopped or resolved, but Rajya Sabha will never resolve. Why? Because it is the council of ministers. All the ministers are sitting over here. In the Lok Sabha also, but that is a big house, house of people, and council of ministers. So hold is more in case of Rajya Sabha. Now, we all know that when the government controls the country, it has three branches: judiciary, executive, and legislative. Legislative makes laws, executive executes it, and finally judiciary supervises it. Clear? Now, political executive. What is political executive? Executive is common for people residing in the country. Political executive is something which is limited for ministers or parliament. There, this is held or controlled by two sections. One is the president alone, and second, prime minister combined with council of ministers. Clear? So, two departments are controlling that. Next comes, what are the functions and powers of the president? The president has basically 5 main functions: executive, legislative, financial, judicial, and emergency. Executive, legislative, financial, judicial, and emergency. Once again, executive, legislative, financial, judicial, and emergency. Executive means appointment of prime minister and his council of ministers, appointment of chief justice, judges of court, and these are the works. Legislative, without president's permission, no rule, no bill, no laws can be activated. Financial, no financial dealings can be done without the president's concern. Now you people can say prime minister is the head of the institution and president is doing all this. Of course, because prime minister has to go through all very minute issues and where he has to sit out or deal with different countries. There, president is sitting to resolve the issues in the easiest way, and then it will go to the prime minister. Okay. Then comes judicial role of the president, that is grant remission or reduce any punishment, or he can consult Supreme Court if he feels that any case is going a bit complicated or baseless. An emergency means any time he can declare emergency and he can stop any member to be a part of the government. Okay. And now comes the next step, that is Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers. What is the Council of Ministers in the Parliament? Council of Ministers are basically of 3 sections: Cabinet Ministers, Ministers of State and Independent Charge, and Minister of the and the Assistant Cabinet Ministers. देखो, Cabinet Ministers are about 20 in number. Minister of State with Independent Charge is having permanent executive members, and Minister of State only along with individual, that is Assistant Cabinet Minister. One Assistant Minister of State is with independent charges, categorically. And here, Minister of State, another section is there, who are filled up with assistant cabinet ministers. Okay. Last part comes judiciary. Judiciary means judiciary is an independent institution. It takes off the power, or it takes off the capacity of controlling a country or a state by giving them perfect justice, by stopping the, what should I say, by stopping the wrongdoers to do something more mischievous, by allowing the people to have a secured and healthy life. Right? So, working in institution, these are the main points, and these points you have to focus in your text. Keep these points in mind, and I believe you all will be able to synchronize the lesson in a small part. Okay? I'll be back with you very soon along with the required question answers and notes. Okay? Bye bye.